Title: The Last Greenstand. By all accounts, it was a peaceful Saturday morning. The kind of morning where the dew on the green shimmered under the rising sun, and the only sound was the soft rustle of wind through the pines. But for me, Jonathan Pierce, it was the morning everything changed. From my back porch, coffee in hand, I stared in disbelief at a convoy of over 200 luxury vehicles carving tracks through the putting greens I had spent 15 years crafting. It wasn't a public course. This was my land, my sanctuary, my father's legacy turned to life. And now, it was being desecrated. At the center of this unauthorized invasion stood Meredith Caldwell, the president of our neighborhood's HOA. Without a single word to me, she had unilaterally declared my private golf course as the designated parking lot for the HOA's annual barbecue fundraiser. She did not expect me to respond with my titanium driver in hand. My golf course wasn't just property. It was the manifestation of a promise. My father, Henry Pierce, had taught me to swing a club on this very land when it was just a scrappy, uneven field behind our family home. 7 years ago, before he passed, he looked at me with tired eyes and said, "John, make it beautiful. Make it ours." So I did. I drained every penny I could spare. I took night courses in landscape architecture. I installed an irrigation system so precise it could read soil moisture to the ounce. I imported bentgrass from Scotland and hand-shaped every green, every slope, every bunker. This was where I taught my kids to play, where I found peace after the heart attack that nearly took me at 40. It was more than therapy. It was my rebirth. I didn't hoard the course. I hosted charity events, gave free lessons to kids, and let the high school team practice when their course flooded. I gave freely, and so the betrayal cut deeper. Meredith's vendetta began 3 years earlier when she took over the HOA. Her first act was attempting to absorb private lots into community green spaces. I declined politely. Then came the harassment. Citations for ornamental grasses. Complaints about delivery trucks. Petitions to rezone my land. Survey stakes appeared mysteriously. I responded with professionalism, security cameras, documentation, calm rebuttals. I even brought wine to neighborhood mixers. I wanted peace. She wanted control. 2 weeks before the incident, I overheard her say at a party that golf course is a waste of land. 40 families could live there. She didn't see me. I wish I had said something. That Saturday, as I sipped my coffee, the sounds of engines pierced the morning stillness. My grounds crew never arrived early, and this was no normal crew. I grabbed my binoculars. Orange-vested volunteers were directing a stream of cars, SUVs, sports cars, sedans onto the greens. I ran out in my robe, confronted a teenager waving in a Mercedes. "Annual community barbecue, sir," he smiled, handing me a flyer. The flyer read, "Convenient parking available at the neighboring golf course. $10 per vehicle. Proceeds benefit community improvements." "This is private property," I snapped. "Talk to Meredith," he said, waving another car in. I called. No answer. Texted. Nothing. I documented everything: the damage, tire tracks, crushed sprinkler heads. By 9 a.m., over 100 vehicles had sunk into the greens. The irrigation system was gurgling, water bubbling into mud. A Range Rover had buried itself in a bunker, spraying sand as it tried to escape. Trunks opened, coolers unloaded, people lounging like it was their right. I changed and marched to the clubhouse. There she was. Meredith Caldwell, crisp white blouse, arms waving like a general. Our eyes met. She smirked. "Jonathan, I was just about to call you. This is my property, not your parking lot," I said evenly. She shrugged. "It's just grass. It'll grow back. Each square foot of that grass costs thousands. 3 irrigation heads are already destroyed." She stepped closer. "The community's needs outweigh your hobby. There's a public course 10 minutes away." I showed her the flyer. "Charging people to park on private property without permission is fraud. We're a nonprofit," she said loudly. "Your authority ends at my fence." Her smile faded. "What are you going to do? Call the cops? Tow 200 cars? Think of the optics." I did. Then I made some calls. Officer Montoya from the local precinct told me it was a civil issue. They claim verbal permission. Without signage, it's your word against theirs. File on Monday. My attorney, Raymond Barnes, a fellow golfer, confirmed. Document everything. Photos, videos, receipts. We build the case. While pacing, I noticed volunteers collecting cash. I snapped photos. Not just parking fees. Admission. $25 each. The Sunshine Foundation, it claimed. Never heard of it. I searched. Registered 3 months prior. Agent, Meredith's sister. This wasn't charity. It was profit. I called my 4 closest friends, co-investors in the course. David, a retired attorney. Phil, a golf pro. Tony, a tech entrepreneur with a golf cart collection. Mark, a photographer. They were outraged. Within the hour, they arrived. We're going to play golf, I said. We set up targets near the 5th hole. Posted signs, caution, golf practice area. We're using the land as intended, David noted. Let them explain to insurance why their cars were parked on a functioning golf course. We live-streamed the session. As I took my first swing, a flawless arc with my father's titanium driver, the ball sword, bouncing gently between 2 BMWs. Gasps. Applause. Another swing. Closer this time. People began quietly moving their cars. Meredith stormed over. Stop this. We're practicing, I replied. This is a golf course. There are people everywhere. And unauthorized vehicles. That's the safety hazard. David added, this is protected use. The danger lies with those who chose to park on active turf. By the 3rd shot, cars were fleeing. Someone shouted, you fined me for a rose bush. Another, you said I wouldn't get snow removal unless I attended. It snowballed. Carol, a former board member, whispered to me she awarded contracts to her brother-in-law. Double the bids. Frank Miller, a retired police officer, declared, the HOA has no jurisdiction here. She knows that. A local news van pulled in. Sandra tried damage control. This man is endangering residents. Practicing on his land, said Frank. You put the cars there. David handed the reporter a folder with proof. Sunshine Foundation Incorporation papers, financials, development proposals. One by one, neighbors turned. Harold, another board member, revealed the truth. The barbecue was for developers. Plans for Sunshine Estates condominiums were in the works. My land was the target. The news aired Sunday night. Footage of crushed greens, heated confrontations, neighbors venting years of suppressed grievances. By Monday, Meredith had resigned. The board issued an apology. $73,450 in damages would be paid. The Sunshine Foundation was dissolved. Frank was named ethics chair. A week later, 30 neighbors arrived at sunrise, tools in hand. They helped reseed, repair, and restore every inch. Kids pulled weeds. Retired landscapers offered expertise. Coffee and donuts were shared. Diane from the board proposed a new tradition, a sanctioned annual golf day, with full respect for property lines. I accepted. In honor of my father, I launched the Henry Pierce Jr. Golf Scholarship, offering free lessons to neighborhood youth. Spots filled within hours. Meredith? She moved out. Investigations were ongoing, but the community no longer whispered her name. They talked about tournaments, about friendships, about the beauty of green space preserved. As I walk the course now, my father's putter in hand, I feel his spirit in every swing. Not every battle is fought with anger. Some are won with truth, patience, and a perfect drive straight down the fairway. Epilogue. The summer after the incident, something extraordinary happened. The city named my course a protected community heritage site for its contribution to green spaces and community building. Local schools partnered with me for youth golf clinics. Even a regional tournament now lists our course as a practice ground. But the real surprise came 6 months later. Meredith, under investigation, took a plea deal. She testified about widespread corruption in HOA management companies statewide, exposing a syndicate of developers and corrupt board members. Her fall ignited reform. The state passed legislation limiting HOA powers on private lands. A new committee, including homeowners like me, now governs policy. What began as a quiet morning betrayal became a statewide reckoning. And in the end, my father was right. The greens are sacred, not just because of the grass, but because of the people who rise to defend it. Legacy, like golf, is a long game. And on this course, the Pierce family is still playing. The last green stands. And it always will.